You keep telling yourself you're waiting for the right moment, that once things line up, once you feel ready, you'll move. But here's the part no one warns you about. The world does not pause while you hesitate. It keeps reorganizing itself quietly, efficiently, without asking for your permission. And somewhere in that silent movement, a space that once belonged to you is already being claimed. While you're thinking, someone else is acting. While you're analyzing, someone else is replacing you. Not dramatically, not loudly, calmly, methodically, almost respectfully. That's what makes it dangerous. No alarm goes off when you start falling behind. There is no clear signal, just a subtle shift where your presence becomes less necessary. Machiavelli would never wait for certainty. He understood something most people miss. Power doesn't reward intention, it rewards motion. The world he described still works the same way today. If you are still, you are being studied, measured, compared, and eventually bypassed. You assume your absence will be noticed. It won't. Systems adapt fast. Roles get filled faster than pride can accept. Someone with less talent, less depth, less potential is already stepping into the position you thought had your name on it. Not because they're better, but because they showed up when you didn't. And this is the uncomfortable truth. You are not competing against the best. You are competing against the ones who move despite fear, the ones who act before they feel ready, the ones who understand that hesitation is not neutrality. It's a signal that you can be replaced. It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. Machiavelli wasn't talking about cruelty. He was talking about relevance, about presence, about the cost of being invisible. Because the moment you stop projecting weight, something else fills the space. You think time is on your side. It isn't. Time doesn't punish you immediately. It watches. It waits. And then it rearranges the board without you noticing. By the time you feel the loss, the position is gone, and someone else is already standing there, acting like it was always meant to be theirs. You don't notice the replacement happening. That's the most dangerous part. No one taps you on the shoulder to tell you you're falling behind. No alarm goes off. No public announcement. The world doesn't humiliate you loudly. It simply adjusts quietly. While you're thinking, reconsidering, refining, waiting for clarity, someone else is moving with half your skill and twice your speed. And speed beats perfection every time. This is how power actually shifts, not through dramatic takeovers, but through absence, through empty chairs being filled by whoever shows up first. Machiavelli understood something most people miss. Hesitation creates vacancies, and vacancies are invitations. The world Machiavelli described still works the same, only faster and less forgiving. You think you're being patient, strategic, careful, but patience without movement is indistinguishable from weakness. And weakness, once detected, is never ignored. Others sense it before you do. They don't hate you for it. They don't even think about you. They simply step into the space you left open. Here's the uncomfortable truth. You're not competing against better people. You're competing against more decisive ones. While you wait for confidence, they act without it. While you wait to feel ready, they accept the cost of being seen too early. While you wait to perfect your position, they occupy it and make it theirs. Machiavelli would never wait for ideal conditions. He knew that momentum creates legitimacy, not the other way around. Power follows motion. Stillness invites replacement. And the cruel irony is this. Once someone takes your place, the world quickly forgets you were ever meant to be there. You tell yourself you're different, that your moment hasn't arrived yet, that timing matters. It does. But timing favors those already in motion. The world doesn't reward potential. It rewards presence. And presence is something you either claim or lose. There's a line that echoes through centuries for a reason. It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. Fear in this context isn't intimidation. It's certainty. It's the quiet understanding that you are already positioned, already advancing, already unavoidable. No one fears someone who is still deciding. Right now, someone is learning faster than you. Failing publicly while you hesitate privately, being underestimated while you remain invisible. And by the time you feel ready to step forward, you'll realize something cold and final. The place you were aiming for no longer exists. It has a new name, a new face, and the world has already adjusted. There is a lie you've been taught since you were young, that if you stay patient, if you stay good, if you wait long enough, things will naturally fall into your hands. History laughs at this idea. Power has never belonged to those who waited correctly. It has always belonged to those who moved while others were still negotiating with their fear. Look closely at what's happening around you, not loudly, quietly. While you hesitate, someone else is rehearsing your future. They are learning the skills you postponed. They are taking the position you thought would still be empty when you finally felt ready. And the cruel part is this: they don't need to be better than you. They only need to be faster than your doubt. Machiavelli understood something most people miss. The world does not reward potential, it rewards presence. If you are not visible in motion, you are invisible by default. And invisibility is not neutral. It is an invitation. A vacancy sign hanging over your place in the hierarchy. You think time is on your side because nothing has collapsed yet. That's how replacement begins. Not with disaster, but with comfort. With routines that feel safe. With days that pass without friction. You call it stability. The system calls it stagnation. And stagnation is the perfect condition for someone else to step in without resistance. While you analyze, they execute. While you wait for certainty, they accept imperfection. And slowly, without confrontation, they occupy the space you assumed was reserved for you. No announcement, no warning, just absence. Yours. Machiavelli would never wait to be chosen. He knew that those who hesitate are eventually chosen against. It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both. Not because fear is cruel, but because fear signals presence, movement, weight, a reminder that you exist and cannot be ignored. Every hierarchy is a living organism. When one part stops moving, another replaces it. This is not personal, it is structural, and the longer you remain still, the more natural your replacement becomes. Until one day you look around and realize the door you planned to walk through no longer opens for you. Not because you failed, but because you waited. There is a moment most people never notice. It doesn't arrive with noise or drama. It shows up quietly, dressed as routine. You wake up, do what you always do, tell yourself you're still in the game. But the game has already moved, and it didn't ask for your permission. Power doesn't disappear when you hesitate. It transfers. While you're weighing options, someone else is acting without certainty, without perfect conditions, without waiting to feel ready. And the world rewards motion, not clarity. Machiavelli understood something most people miss. Stability is not preserved by caution, but by controlled aggression toward time itself. Every system around you is constantly replacing the weak link. Jobs don't announce when they've found someone more useful. Influence doesn't warn you before it shifts. Respect doesn't send a message when it quietly changes owners. It simply moves toward whoever creates momentum. The rest are left explaining why they almost acted. You think you're being patient, strategic, thoughtful. But patience without leverage is just delay with a nicer name. The world Machiavelli described still works the same, only faster. The silence you're sitting in is not neutral. It's being interpreted. And silence in a competitive environment is often read as permission. Look closely and you'll see it everywhere. The person who replaced you didn't plan better. They moved earlier. They spoke when you stayed quiet. They stepped forward while you were still improving yourself in private. They weren't superior. They were present. It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. Not because fear is cruelty, but because fear signals consequence, and consequence signals relevance. Waiting erodes both. The longer you remain invisible, the easier you are to remove without resistance. Machiavelli would never wait to be chosen. He would position himself where choosing him became unavoidable. That's the part no one tells you. Power doesn't beg for attention. It occupies space until attention has no other option. Right now, somewhere close to you, someone is practicing the role you believe is yours. They are learning your weaknesses by watching you hesitate. They are filling the gap you left open. Not maliciously, efficiently. This is the uncomfortable truth. You are not competing against giants. You are competing against time. And time does not pause for reflection. It only records who moved and who watched movement happen. If this makes you uneasy, good. That pressure is awareness waking up. Because the longer you sit still, the easier you are to step around. And the world is already stepping. Time is not neutral. That is the lie most people survive on. They believe time is a background element, something that waits with them, something that pauses when they pause. It does not. Time is aligned with movement. It favors whoever is willing to act, while others hesitate. And when you stop, even briefly, time does not slow down to be fair. It quietly reallocates position. This is where replacement actually happens. Not loudly, not dramatically. No announcement. Just a gradual shift where someone else starts occupying the space you assumed was reserved for you. Your future role, your influence, your relevance. You don't lose it in a single moment. You lose it in small delays that feel harmless. A week, a month, a year. Each one justified. Each one reasonable. Until suddenly, you are explaining why you are no longer where you thought you'd be. Machiavelli understood something most people refuse to face. Power is not stolen, it is surrendered. The world does not take from you aggressively. It watches for slack, for softness, for moments where you choose comfort over assertion. That is when the substitution begins. Someone less prepared but more willing moves forward, and the system rewards motion, not merit. You might believe you are being careful, strategic, waiting for the right conditions, but the world does not interpret waiting as wisdom. It interprets it as vacancy, and vacancies get filled, quietly, efficiently, permanently. Machiavelli would never wait for clarity when movement itself creates clarity. He knew hesitation invites replacement faster than failure ever could. There is a particular kind of fear that settles in when you realize this too late. Not panic, not regret, a colder sensation. The awareness that the door you were watching is still open, but someone else is already walking through it. And they did not need to be better than you. They only needed to be present when you were not. The world Machiavelli described still works the same. It favors those who advance before they feel ready. It rewards visibility, pressure, and presence, and it forgets those who confuse patience with protection. You don't get replaced because you are weak. You get replaced because you paused in a system that never does. By now, you've felt it. That quiet pressure in your chest that doesn't come from fear, but from recognition. Because the most dangerous truth isn't that the world is cruel. It's that the world keeps moving without asking if you're ready. While you've been thinking, adjusting, waiting for clarity, someone else has already stepped into the space you hesitated to claim. Not because they were better, but because they moved. Machiavelli understood something most people refuse to face. Power doesn't reward intention, it responds to presence. The world he described still works the same way today. Visibility beats virtue, motion beats potential, and absence, no matter how justified, is interpreted as weakness. You don't get replaced the moment you fail. You get replaced the moment you pause too long. There is a silent competition happening around you at all times. No announcements, no countdown, no warning. Just people advancing quietly while others reassure themselves that timing will save them. It won't. Time doesn't protect anyone. It exposes them. Every delay sharpens someone else's advantage. Every moment of comfort creates a gap that someone more restless will gladly fill. Machiavelli would never wait to be understood. He knew that if you are not shaping perception, perception will shape you, and not kindly. It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both. Not because fear is noble, but because fear signals presence. It signals weight. In a world that scans constantly for momentum, stillness is read as surrender. Look closely at your life, at your position, at the rooms you're not in anymore, at the conversations that stopped including you. This is how replacement begins. Not with collapse, but with quiet subtraction. A decision made without you. An opportunity redirected. A name spoken less often, until one day you realize the role you thought was yours has already been filled. This isn't meant to motivate you. It's meant to corner you with the truth. Because once you see how replacement actually happens, you lose the luxury of denial. You either move or you become background. You either apply pressure or you get erased softly, politely, without drama. If this froze something inside you, don't dismiss it. That reaction is awareness waking up. Sit with it. And if you understand what's at stake, make it visible. Leave a mark here. Say something that proves you're still present. And if you know someone who's been waiting too long, share this with them. Not to inspire them, but to warn them.